Jai Mahamaya Ki Jai. We'll proceed with chapter 6 of book 9 in the Srimad Devi Bhagavatam. Narada said, Saraswati lives always in Vaikuntha close to Narada. One day close to Narayana. One day a quarrel arose with Ganga, and by her curse Saraswati came in parts as a river here in this Bharata, this earth. She is reckoned in Bharata as a great sanctifying, holy, merit-giving river. The good persons serve her always, residing on her banks. She is the tapasya and the fruit thereof of the ascetics. She is like the burning fire to the sins of the sinners. Those that die in Bharata on the Saraswati river with their full consciousness live forever in Vaikuntha in the council of Lord Vishnu. Those that bathe in the Saraswati waters after committing sins become easily freed of them and live for a long time in the Vishnu Loka. If one bathes even once in the Saraswati rivers on any holy day or through any other commitment cause, or even without any faith and without and with sheer disregard, one is able to go to Vaikuntha and get the name of Sri Vishnu. If one repeats the Saraswati mantra residing on the banks of Saraswati for 1 month, a great illiterate can become a great poet. There is no doubt in this. Once shaving one's head, if one resides on the banks of the Saraswati, daily bathes in it, one will have not to meet with the pain of being again born in this womb. O Narada, thus I have described a little of this unbounded glories of Bharata that gives happiness and fruits of all desires. Narada said, O Lord, how did the Devi Saraswati quarrel with the Devi Ganga, and how did she, by her curse, turn out in India into a holy river in giving virtues? I am becoming more and more eager and impatient to hear about this critical incident. Why did Ganga curse Saraswati, worshipped everywhere? Ganga is also full of sattvic guna. She always bestows good and virtue to all. Both of them are fiery, and it is pleasant to hear the cause of the quarrels between the two of them. These are very rarely found in the Puranas, so you ought to describe that to me. Narayani said, Hear, O Narada, I will now describe that incident, the hearing of which removes all sins. Lakshmi, Saraswati, and Ganga, the 3 wives of Vishnu, all equally loved, remained always close to him. One day Ganga cast sidelong glances frequently toward Vishnu and was eagerly looking at him with smiles on her lips. Seeing this, the Lord Vishnu, startled, looked at Ganga and smiled also. Lakshmi saw that, but she did not take any offense. But Saraswati became very angry. Padma, Lakshmi, who was the sattvic guna, began to console in various ways the wrathful Saraswati, but she could not be appeased by any means. Rather, her face became red out of anger. She began to tremble, and of her feeling of passion, her lips quivered, and she began to speak to her husband. The husband that is good, religious, and well qualified looks on all his wives equally, but it is just the opposite with him who is a cheat. O Vishnu, you are partial to Ganga, and so is the case with Lakshmi. I am the only one that is deprived of your love. It is therefore that Ganga and Lakshmi are in love with each other, for you love Lakshmi. So why shall not Lakshmi bear this contrary thing? I am only unfortunate. What use is there in holding my life? Here life is useless. Who is deprived of her husband's love? Those that declare you of sattvic guna ought not to be ever called pundits. They are quite illiterate. They have not the least knowledge of the Vedas. They are quite impotent to understand the nature of your mind. O Narada, hearing Saraswati's words and knowing that she had become very angry, Vishnu thought for a moment and then went outside. When Vishnu had thus gone away, Saraswati became fearless and began to abuse Ganga downright out of anger in an abusive language hard to hear. O shameless one, O passionate one, what pride do you feel for your husband? Do you like to show that your husband loves you much? I will destroy your pride today. I will see to it that you can, what Vishnu can do for you. Saying thus, Saraswati rose up to catch hold of Ganga by her hair violently. Lakshmi intervened to stop this. Saraswati became very violent and also cursed Lakshmi. No doubt you will be turned into a tree and into a river. Inasmuch as seeing this undue behavior of Ganga, you do not step forward to speak anything in this assembly, as if you were a tree or a river. Lakshmi did not become at all angry, even when she heard the above curse. She became sorry, and holding the hands of Saraswati remained silent. Then Ganga became very angry. Her lips began to quiver frequently. Seeing the mad, fiery nature of the red-eyed Saraswati, she told Lakshmi, "O Lakshmi, leave this wicked four-mouthed woman. What will she do to me? She presides over speech and therefore, like always, to remain with quarrels. Let her show her force. How far can she quarrel with me? She wants to test the strength of us. So leave her. Let all know today our strength and prowess." Thus saying, Ganga became ready to curse Saraswati, and addressing Lakshmi said, "O dear Lakshmi, as this woman has cursed you to become a river, so I too curse her, that she too be turned into a river, and she would go to the abode of men, the sinners, to the world, and take their heaps of sins." Hearing this curse of Ganga, Saraswati gave her curse too. You too will have to descend into the Buraloka, the world, as a river, taking all the sins of the sinners. O Narada, while there was going on this quarrel, that four-armed, omniscient Bhagavan Vishnu came up there, accompanied by four attendants of his, all four-armed, and took Saraswati in his breast and began to speak all the prevalent mysteries. Then they came to know the cause of their quarrel and why they cursed one another, and all became very sorry. At that time, Bhagavan Vishnu told them one by one, "O Lakshmi, let you be born in parts without being born in any womb, in the world as the daughter in the house of King Dharma. You will have to take the form of a tree there. Out of this evil turn of fate. There, the Indra of the Asuras, born of my parts, will marry you. After that, you will come back here and be my wife, as now. There is no doubt in this. You will be named Tulsi, the purifier of the three worlds in Bharata. O beautiful one, now go there quickly and be a river in your parts under the name of Padmavati. O Ganga, you will also have to take incarnation in Bharata as a river, purifying all the worlds to destroy the sins of the inhabitants of Bharata. Bhagavatam will take you there after much entreating and worshipping you, and you will be famous by the name Bhagirati, the most sanctifying river in the world. There the ocean born of my parts and the king Santanu, also born of my parts, will be your husbands. O Bharati, let you go also and incarnate in part of Bharata under the curse of Ganga. A good-natured one, now go in full amsa to Brahma and become his wife. Let Ganga go into her fullness to Lord Shiva. Let Lakshmi, who is a peaceful nature, void of anger, devoted to me, of a sattvic nature, chaste, good-mannered, fortunate and religious women like Lakshmi are very rare. These women that are born of the parts of Padma or Lakshmi are all very religious and devoted to their husbands. They are peaceful and good-natured and worshipped in every universe. It is forbidden, nay, opposed to the Vedas to keep 3 wives, 3 servants, 3 friends of different natures at one place. They never conduce to any welfare. They are the fruitful source of all jealousies and quarrels. Where in my family females are powerful like men, and males are submissive to females, the birth of the male is useless. At its every step, he meets with difficulties and bitter experiences. He ought to retire to the forest, whose wife is foul-mouthed, of bad birth, and fond of quarrels. The great forest is better for him than his house. That man does not get in his house any water for washing his feet, or any seat to sit on, or any fruit to eat, nothing whatsoever. But in the forest all these are not unavailable. Rather to dwell amidst rapacious animals, or to enter into fire, than remain with a bad wife. O fair one, rather the pains of the disease of venom are bearable, but the words of a bad wife are hard to bear. Death is far more better than that. Those that are under the control of their wives know that they never get their peace of mind until they are laid on their funeral pyres. They never see the fruits of what they daily do. His life is verily a heavy burden, who is without any name or fame. Never it is for the least good that many co-wives remain at one place. When by taking one wife only a man does not become happy, then imagine how painful it would be to have many lives. O Ganga, you go to Shiva. O Saraswati, you go to Brahma. Let you, good-natured Lakshmi, reside on the lotus and remain with me. He gets in this world happiness and dharma, and in the next mukti, whose wife is chaste and obedient. In fact, he is mukta, pure and happy, whose wife is chaste, and he whose wife is foul-natured is rendered impure, unhappy, and dead whilst he is living. Here ends the 6th chapter of the 9th book on the coming in the world of Lakshmi, Ganga, and Saraswati in the Mahapuran Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Veda Vyasa. Jai Mahamaya ki jai, Vishveshwari Mata ki jai, Bole Baba ki jai.